IVM.
Hello! Welcome to another awesome episode of IVM Likes. Hello everyone. Hi. My name is Antariksh and I'm your host for this episode. Joining me are my co-producer Vinay. Vinay, say hi.
Hey, Antariksh.
Okay, and joining Vinay and me is Pavan Srinath, who is the host of two podcasts, not one, but two podcasts on the IVM network, the Pragati Podcast and the Thale-Harate Kannada Podcast. Welcome,
One
Pavan.
of these days, I'm going to teach you guys how to pronounce Thale-Harate.
Thale-Harate.
Thank you so much, Antariksh. It's a pleasure to join here. It's the Thale-Harate Kannada Podcast. And yes, I also run the Pragati Podcast in English.
Yeah, I'm never
you so
getting
much
that properly. I'm never going to be able to pronounce it properly. That's the but awesome. Thank you so much, Pavan, for joining us. Very cool. So guys, if you haven't heard an episode of IVM Likes before, how it works is in the second half, we'll be talking about the topic, which is on this episode, the life of characters after the movie or the show ends. And in the first half, we give you guys some awesome recommendations as to things that you can go check out or something that we have recently seen, like a movie, TV show, book, anything in the pop culture sphere that we are interested in and would like to recommend to you because we think that you would like it as well. So let's start with the recommendations. Vinay, let's get to you, man.
Hi. So my recommendation is the Titanic spoiler. Have you seen it, guys?
Man, you just showed it to me before this and it's hilarious.
And I have not seen it yet.
So it's very hilarious. If that ending was there in that movie, the movie had not won any awards that they won that year when it released. So they won 18 awards and all those 18 awards would have gone down the drain.
Yeah. That's a record, ne?
Yeah.
Isn't that the highest
record.
number of...
It's highest number of awards in a single year.
Wow.
So the alternate ending of this is that Levitt, the explorer who explores Titanic, from the starting of the movie, he tends to find the diamond.
It's called something.
Yeah, it's called the heart of the ocean. So when he gets the picture of the Rose Dawson, he sees that the diamond was present on that ship when it sank.
See, firstly, this guy is so chivalrous. When he sees a painting of a naked Kate Winslet, he looks like the diamond necklace, the rest of the image.
Yeah.
This is very chivalrous. Very cool.
1900, so she will be.
Okay.
So basically, he gets to know that the diamond was present on the ship, and Rose was wearing it. So now the only thing is, how can he find the diamond? So he receives the call. Everyone has seen Titanic, by the way. He receives calls from Rose, and then they meet up. The entire story goes. So when the ship sinks, the diamond is with Rose.
Yeah, correct. It's in her pocket. Yeah,
it's in her pocket.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they didn't think when she was narrating the story that the diamond was in Rose's pocket. So it should be with her, right? This didn't come up in the movie.
But that's not the alternate ending. What is the alternate ending?
No, the only ending we know is that Rose goes on top of the bars and then she throws the diamond.
Throws the diamond, correct.
Yeah, correct. So the alternate ending over here is that Levitt and Rose's daughter are talking to each other. Okay, and Rose comes up to throw that diamond. And Levitt sees that she is about to throw something into the water. And he goes up to her and he says that don't do it. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Don't throw this. And then there is this famous dialogue that leave each day. That Rose says to him, leave each day. Don't be like something. She says, don't be greedy or something.
So,
and
basically.
And then he says that let me catch that diamond at least in my hand.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. So basically, they made it very awkward.
They made
a very awkward scene out of this. Correct. Where in the original movie, all that you see is Rose
walking up to the barricades and then
moment of silence, with a small smile. Correct. Exactly. Walking up to the barricade side of the ship.
Yeah.
And just drops
the diamond.
Drops the diamond necklace into the water.
Makes him hold the diamond.
Yeah.
And crazy. He laughs and everything. He goes mental for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then in this one, when she's about to throw the diamond or when she throws the diamond, everyone around goes oh my God, what are you doing? Please don't do that.
Don't do it.
It becomes very awkward.
Its assistants also what are you doing? Are you out of your mind? She just threw the diamond into the water and all those stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the alternate ending people are talking about. If this was included in the real Titanic, the movie wouldn't have been a movie that it is today.
Exactly. Like, so please go and check out this alternate ending. It's going viral right now, and
Yeah,
it's
no
just
one will
absolutely
like
hilarious.
it, but yeah,
Yeah.
please go and check it.
Okay, nice. Thanks, Vinay. I'm sure it's the clip can be found on YouTube, so please do
Yeah,
that.
it's everywhere. It's on the internet.
Yeah. Cool.
But
Let's
my
get to
but my
Pawan.
only
Yeah,
question
sorry. Go ahead.
but my only question was, if when Rose was narrating the story, and in that story we like they know that she had it in her pocket, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why didn't Levitt like notice it that time only, that it was in her pocket? It should be with her.
But she mentioned that diamond being in her pocket at the end, na bilkul.
Yeah, but when the ship
So
when the ship is sinking, that time it
yeah,
is in her pocket, right? So he will
yeah.
know while narrating the story, correct?
I
But she's
don't.
floating on a log. It might have gotten lost somewhere. I think the magic of Titanic is that it's only us, the viewers, and Rose herself who know that the diamond was still with her, and then she drops it away silently in the
Yeah,
ocean. Only
Yeah,
we see
true.
it getting dropped, right?
Yeah,
So
very
clearly,
true.
this alternate ending sees all the other characters also of the
Yeah,
fake present day who are
exactly.
also watching her throw it, which is, I
yeah,
guess, what ruins the magic of it all.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's
ruins,
absolutely.
and then this spoiler ruins the entire magic of it.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool, man. Thanks, Vinay. Let's get to Pawan. Pawan, what would you like to recommend?
So I have two recommendations, Antariksh. One is the show on Netflix called Snowpiercer. So you must remember the old movie, right? Before
Yes, of course.
Chris
Chris
Evans was
Evans,
Captain America, he
what's her
was
name? Tilda
on
Swinton.
Snowpiercer.
Tilda Swinton is there in the movie, no? Also.
I think so. Tilda Swinton is there, and this is by the same Korean director who made Parasite. He made Snowpiercer before he made Parasite.
Really? I did not
Yes,
know that.
he wrote it and he made it.
Bong Joon-ho or something his name is.
Yes, and
yeah.
But it's actually based off of a very old French graphic novel. So it has like a global history to
Oh wow.
this.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah.
To this property. So Snowpiercer was a self-contained movie. It's about
Yep.
what happens when the world sort of freezes over, and you have to buy
one
in a
train
few.
survives. Yeah.
You have to be traveling at high speed on this train to be able to beat the cold.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
all of humanity is on this incredibly long train, right? It's like a few hundred coaches of people,
Yeah.
and then people who are at the end of the train are bottom in sort of class, and how much what kind of facilities they have and what kind of privileges they have. They're treated as subhumans, and people in the front of the train and the guy who's running the train who have all the power. Now, it was a fantastic movie, action packed. And last year or so, this was, I think, TNT or somebody else. This is not Netflix per se, but it's another production house which decided to reboot this as a TV series. And Netflix got the rights globally outside of the US and outside of China. So we are able to watch it on Netflix. So it comes on week, right? So you can't binge the show
nice.
like other Netflix shows. So one season's out, the second season's on right now. And I must tell you, the first season came out, I think, a little before the first lockdown happened last year. And I discovered we started watching this first with trepidation. You have a great movie. Oh my God, somebody is going to ruin it in a TV series.
Exactly.
It's going to be painful. But no, whatever happens in the actual movie gets covered in like the first 1 or 2 episodes, and everything else happens beyond that. Right. So again, premise.
He meets the engineer and all in the first 2 episodes only.
So it's a whole different spin. Okay. So they have a different take on who's running this train.
Oh, okay.
But it's all about it's a very 2020 and our era show, because you have a lot of questions on class that are happening right now, right? Whether it's in America or in the rest of the world. You have a lot of talk about inequality that's happening. So they explore this in a way where you have kick-ass action, but at the same time, you have deep exploration of social inequality. What happens when you have this, all of humanity is on this train about 900 cars long. And then you have people at the tail end who call themselves the tailies, and they barely get any rations to live on and so on. And then there are other sections. You literally have a first class, second class, and third class. So what if you take our
the farther away you
trains,
go from the engine, the worse your economic status is, or your
and
civil status.
Everybody sort of worships the maker of this entire train, and you have a symbol sort of W. It's almost like the WordPress symbol W that's stamped all over. And but you don't quite know what's happening. People are sort of trying for a revolution from the back. But again, the question, what happens after a revolution, right? How do you govern? How do you do things? So first season, I'll tell you, this is one of the few shows where you watch for 50 minutes. It's not just a cliffhanger at the end. They'll deliver on one or two major things and then leave you hanging for the next one. So when we were watching this through the lockdown, this was like a great thing to watch last year. And good news is the second season's out now. They've the first season had Jennifer Connelly in one of the lead roles. And I don't know if you know David Diggs.
I know him. Yeah. The guy, the black actor with longish hair.
Yeah, he had the amazing dreadlocks and the beard.
Yeah, amazing dreadlocks. Yeah.
And he became famous as a Broadway actor for Hamilton.
Yeah.
Right. So he played both Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson in the first half and the second half of Hamilton. And so he plays the lead role in Snowpiercer. He takes over Chris Evans's role. And he kills it. And in the second season, no spoilers as to who this is, but they bring in Sean Bean as the villain.
Oh wow! So he's gonna die. We know he's gonna die.
Yeah, but Sean Bean villain, you get a good Sean Bean villain, right?
That's true. You get a great Sean Bean villain. Yeah.
Yes, he's definitely gonna die. He's Sean Bean.
Yeah.
But so they bring that back. So this is a fantastic show. I can't recommend enough. My second recommendation is, I think you also are loving it and watching it.
Yes,
Attack on Titan.
Huge fan. So fun fact about Attack on Titan. Huge fan. Okay, I'm sure you are as well. Huge fan. I've been following it it's in its fourth and final season right now. I'm following it since the beginning. Attack on Titan was the reason I watched the Snowpiercer movie.
Okay.
Because I was like, Attack on Titan is over now. What do I watch which is similar to this? So you look up things similar to that. And then in live action, you're like, Snowpiercer was post-apocalypse, last dregs of humanity left. And that's what led me to Snowpiercer. So what are the odds that you would be recommending both of them on this thing? And both of them are ongoing right now, which is insane to even think about.
Yeah. So, and Attack on Titan is probably the one show that went global, and after that, I think My Hero Academia is also something that's going big in the US and elsewhere. But Attack on Titan, I think, has been instrumental in changing the popularity of anime post 2010, right? They've taken their time between seasons, but they've delivered. The last season, there were a few questions because the animation studio changed.
Yeah,
but man, I'm sure you agree, it's delivering like anything, right?
So well, dude. The season starts off so well with the whole invasion onto Marley with the Paradise Forces. People who don't know the show, these are just code words for them. It makes nothing.
Yeah,
Marley and
for
LDL
people who have
Empire
not seen any anime and want to get in, just watch the first season of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, it's
ready to be blown away.
First 2 episodes, you're like sunken. There's no escaping after the first 2 episodes, basically.
And if you can watch it with subtitles in the original Japanese, the voice acting is way better. The English is not bad, but the Japanese is way better.
Yeah, for sure. Like Eren in the English dub just sounds like a loser. He's just whining.
He sounds like he's shouting all the time.
Yeah, he's just a whining asshole, dude. He sounds like, basically. Sorry, I don't think we can curse on this.
Is it available on Netflix?
It is available on Netflix. First 2 seasons maybe are available?
No, actually, there's some sort of a compilation movie that's available on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. So you'll have to figure out how to watch this show, unfortunately, right now.
So dubious means. You can get through dubious means.
Yes, you can figure it out.
Yeah. Final season for sure is not available on Netflix, but it'll be available on websites like Crunchyroll or dubious means, whatever you want to. You'll find them. So yes, Attack on Titan, huge recommendation. Amazing. The power structures in this show are great. The characters, some are great, some are okay. In all fairness, but the story is this. The main hero of this whole thing is the setting and the story, and those do not disappoint at all.
And I just want to reinforce just how big this show is. Do you remember when Hotstar got the rights for Game of Thrones? The show that shall not be remembered anymore because of how badly it ended.
It ended.
When Hotstar got the rights, Hotstar crashed on Monday morning when the show aired. Right, Hotstar could not handle the traffic the first time around.
Oh wow!
Or at least it crashed maybe more than once, and then
For
they
the
figured
last
it out.
season,
They
right?
scaled up the infrastructure.
Makes
They
sense, I
fixed
get
it. Crunchyroll has the global streaming rights and the
Attack on
Japanese streaming rights for Attack on Titan. Unfortunately, not for India.
Okay.
But Crunchyroll also crashed
Because of Attack on Titan.
because of
this
Attack
final
on
season?
Titan. Yes,
Oh wow! That's
for the
so
latest
cool.
season.
That is very cool.
So it's something that can bust an entire online streaming service. It was that.
That's how you know, man.
That
That's how
popular.
you know. Yeah. Again, great. So I actually read the manga also for a while. Till I'll tell you. Till the Fritz King, he becomes the huge Titan. You know what I'm talking about? He like licks the serum on the floor, the Titan serum on the floor, and he becomes like this huge Titan. So that's the part till I read till, and then I was like, oh, no, I can't. I don't want to read more. I just want to wait for the animation. So that's how I'm going.
And this is one thing where the animation is way better actually than the manga
because
illustrations. Usually, many of them are richer.
Correct. Yeah. This one, because also I'm not saying that the manga is bad, because the drawings and the artwork is amazing for sure. But to see those titans in motion, to see the grotesque features and all in motion, that's obviously just a way better way to see it. So yeah, huge recommendation for Attack on Titan and for Snowpiercer, the TV show on Netflix. So we get to me. I want to recommend a comic book. So basically, we all know that there are the two biggest comic book producers are Marvel and DC, right? Obviously, we all know this. The third biggest comic book producer is Valiant Comics. Okay, Valiant Comics has a comic called Quantum and Woody. Quantum and Woody are so Valiant Comics also makes superhero comics. So they are the big three superhero comic producers. But Valiant doesn't get talked about much because they don't have much of a live action or an animated movie kind of a presence, an animated show kind of presence that DC and Marvel do. Valiant Comics, but has great characters. Like they're very unique takes on superheroes and like superhero culture and all that stuff. This one, the one I'm talking about, is called Quantum and Woody. Quantum and Woody are two brothers. One of them is black, one of them is white, but they're adopted brothers, raised by Quantum's father. Quantum, I'm forgetting the actual hero's non-hero name. His hero's name is Quantum, and Quantum's father is their actual father, and he's a scientist. And he basically passes away. And these both, after being estranged for like 5-6 years, they have to come back together and try to understand why their father was killed. And during the process, they gain some through one of their father's experiments. They gain some superpowers. The superpower, one of them has the power to be able to construct shields and like other kind of force fields, and the other one has the character to beam like light rays or energy rays at people, at stuff. So like typical kind of powers, but they have to meet every 24 hours once to be able to clang together. Otherwise, they both will explode. Okay, it's just this part of the dynamic that they have. So they have to meet and they have to like work together. That's part of it. And they have a pet goat who can shoot lasers out of its eyes. It's just goat. It's comics. They have a pet goat who can shoot lasers out of his eyes, who they later realize is the father who had died. His body is actually in this goat. And, oh god, it's crazy. So it's very funny, as you can tell. It's a very funny show. It's a very funny comic book, and a lot of moments you'll be like literally just laughing out loud reading a comic book, which doesn't usually happen. The comic books are usually like just snicker, but you'll laugh a lot in this Quantum and Woody. Fun fact: there's a TV show being made, produced by the Russo brothers. The Russo brothers are the other people who made the Avengers movies, the Winter Soldier and Civil War and all those movies. And so they are producing this TV show. And for a while, the character of Woody was going to be played by Joel McHale. Joel McHale from Community, or
wow,
I don't know, where The Soup, if you know him from The Soup, or The Great Outdoors, or whatever you have. So that was the rumor, but I think Joel McHale now is too old. This was a rumor like 4 years back that he was in talks for this, but I don't think it happened. But yeah, read this comic book and wait for the TV show to come out, because it's going to be awesome. And that's my recommendation. Again, you can read through dubious means or go to the Valiant official page and download and buy it there. So yes, that's brings us to the end of the recommendation round. Vinay, could you just run us down what you recommended again?
I recommended the Titanic spoiler.
Yep, you can watch
the
on
Heart
YouTube.
of the Ocean Diamond.
Yes, very funny. Please watch that on YouTube. Pawan, what do you recommend?
Snowpiercer, the TV show on Netflix.
Yes. And Attack on Titan, of course. Please don't forget that. And I recommended Quantum and Woody, the comic book by Valiant Comics. Thank you guys. See you guys in the other half.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank the sponsors on our network this week, Seat Tires. So we had a fantastic week. Tune into This Round Is On Me, where Gauri Devidayal has a chat with Divya Ravichandran on the issues of waste management in India and how recycling, composting, and using eco-friendly alternatives can help. On Filter Coffee Podcast, Karthik speaks with Lux Narayan about his book Name, Place, Animal, Thing, an inspiring non-fiction fable about hope, positivity, and living your best life. On All Things Policy, Anirudh Kanisetti talks to Prateek Wakre and Rohan Sheth about Australia's conflict with Facebook and Google and what this means for big tech companies and the news ecosystem. On the Simplified Podcast, Naren and Tony talk about greenwashing, which is businesses unfairly marketing themselves as eco-friendly just to ride the sustainability wave. You should also check out the Cyrus Says episode with Varun Deshpande of the Good Food Institute, where they talk about plant-based alternatives. Varun does a great show with us called Feeding 10 Billion. Do check out this episode of Cyrus Says. They have a really interesting conversation. On the Millennial Athlete, Tanvi and Shlok speak to the badminton doubles player Satvik Sairaj about his successful stints at some of the recently concluded games. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Hello, welcome back to the second half of this episode. I'm Antariksh Thakkar. Joining me again are Vinay and Pavan from the first half. Welcome back, guys. Say hi again.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Awesome. So as I said in the beginning of the episode, we're going to be talking about life of characters or life of movie characters or TV show characters after the movie or TV show ends. A lot can be said about this. We can actually do this episode about talking about any and every character that has ever existed in a movie, if we are interested enough in their life, I think. So I think I can start off with something easy. I want to. Okay, fine. This is going to be interesting. So basically, you both have seen Pulp Fiction, the movie. I hope. Vinay, Pavan, you both have seen Pulp Fiction.
Of course, yeah, a long time ago, but yes.
Okay. So Pulp Fiction is one of my favorite movies ever. Directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring Samuel L. Jackson. This made stars out of Samuel L. Jackson, out of Uma Thurman. Bruce Willis was already a star, but it gave him more star power. John Travolta's career was going down in the dumps, but had a bit of a slump, his career, and this career again rejuvenated his career, this movie. So Pulp Fiction, highly influential. It's an Oscar winning movie, original screenplay or something. It won an Oscar for. Great movie. And so this is Pulp Fiction, and Reservoir Dogs came out 2 years before that. Reservoir Dogs is Quentin Tarantino's first directorial movie, and it came out 2 years before that. 1994 Pulp Fiction comes out. In Pulp Fiction, John Travolta's character is called Vincent Vega. Okay. And in Reservoir Dogs, which came out 2 years prior, there was a character called Vic Vega, played by Michael Madsen. And it also goes by Mr. Blonde in the movie when they are doing the whole heist thing. So Vic Vega and Vincent Vega, there are two Vega characters. The rumor was that all these Quentin Tarantino movies take place in the same universe, the same like planet. They're just different timelines in the same universe. So the hope was that at some point we will get to see a movie about the Vega characters, about Vic Vega and Vincent Vega together in a movie. And Quentin Tarantino was actually working on that. So that would have been epic to see, because actually Vincent Vega's character, spoiler alert, 1994, the movie came out, so I shouldn't have to say this, but Vincent Vega's character dies. Like John Travolta dies at the end of Pulp Fiction. Not at the end, in one of the stories in Pulp Fiction. Vincent Vega dies. So his character's actually dead. So it would have been a prequel to Pulp Fiction, where Vic Vega and Vincent Vega are together as brothers, pulling either like a heist or pulling like killing someone, like these mob people, mafiosos, or whatever, what have you. So I think that could have been very interesting.
So a prequel of how they got to where they were in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, or afterwards also. So basically, like the thing is, Vincent Vega's he dies, say about halfway through the movie, his character dies. But then we do have another story in which he is there. The one after this, the one where the whole scene in the coffee shop, where the coffee shop is being robbed by Tim Roth and his girlfriend's character, and the bad motherfucker wallet one, that scene.
Right.
Yeah. So that scene happens after Vincent Vega's character has already been shot dead by Bruce Willis' character in the movie. And but Vincent Vega comes back for the next story because it's a prequel movie. it's a prequel scene for like that scene. And I don't know, chronologically that scene is supposed to have happened before, but it was shown later, if you know what I mean.
Right. And this is one thing, right? When characters are extremely popular, right? Especially when there are side characters who become very popular. People don't actually, if there's enough fan desire, they're sometimes even brought back to life, right?
Exactly.
Because people want to see what happens to them.
That's
right?
So true.
Many times you will have this lead character who's some bacha, right? He's someone who's coming of age or coming into his powers. But you have these badass older guys who you really want to know more about. A great example of how actually this became reality was what happened with Agent Phil Coulson in the Avengers. He dies in the first movie. And then everyone loved his character so much. Joss Whedon himself helped create Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is entirely about Phil Coulson, played by, I think, Clark Gregg. And he was a fantastic character. And we got to see a little more of him in a prequel in Captain Marvel, right, when he's much younger. But you're absolutely right. Sometimes when people really love a character, we are fortunate enough to see them
come back
to their life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that would have been cool. Just a random question. Are you watching WandaVision right now, since you're into the MCU?
Not yet.
Dude,
it's
you have to. It is great. It is killing it right now. It's just one last episode is left. This, I think, Friday or something, the last episode will come out of the season. And it's been great. It's been fantastic. So please go check that out also. But I've already recommended it twice on IVM IVM likes. So and that's why I didn't want to do it again.
Sure.
But great show. So that's one of mine, the Vega brothers. I have a few more, but we can get to them a little later. Let's get to something from Vinay. Vinay, what about you, man?
So I wanted to talk about Munna Bhai MBBS, the ending, where he gets married. And
that's interesting.
And when the second Munna Bhai comes up, he is unmarried. Like what did happen?
What happened
between the two parts? Sure. Did they add a divorce or it didn't work out? So that's my question. Or what happened to or the relationship between Munna Bhai and Cyrus became a problem. So
actually, that's kind of a cheat that you're using right now. That's hilarious though, because they're actually just they're completely fresh stories. We never told if the first movie even happened in the world of the second movie.
Yeah, but
it could be a parallel universe.
It has the same topic, the title, right? Munna Bhai.
Yeah, exactly. What I want to know is how Dr. Asthana became a Sardar in the second movie. Right? That's hilarious. That's what I want to know. How did he convert?
And started selling properties.
Selling property and getting people kicked out of their houses and all that.
It's very hilarious. What must have happened in the middle?
So I actually, of course, love all Raju Hirani films. Yeah. But I recently watched Munna Bhai MBBS and Lagara Munna Bhai both together just 3-4 months back. And dude, those movies still hold up great. Yeah, all the jokes still land. None of the jokes are crude or seem vulgar by today's standards. None of them. It was this very well written movie, dude. And for sure, you want to know, did Munna Bhai's hospital work at the end of the movie? When he opened a hospital, right? Did that hospital work?
That disappeared. It became, he tried kidnapping people just to play some quiz on FM.
Exactly.
So the hospital closed.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
The name of the hospital, he kidnapped people.
Oh, dude, even sir, at the end of Munna Bhai MBBS, even Circuit gets married. What happened to that? There's no mention of a wife, of a short circuit, of the son. There's no mention only after that. That's hilarious.
Otherwise, they will be in his village.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Nice. लोग खेती बाड़ी करते रहेंगे, इन लोग यहाँ पे मजा कर रहे हैं.
Yeah.
So basically, then they ended the first movie in a way where they didn't want to make a sequel based on how it ended, na?
That's actually what happened. Yes, of course.
I think it'll be personally interesting to see those arcs also, but maybe they didn't want to extend from where they ended, right?
Yeah, and, correct.
Right now I'm seeing, at least with English Netflix shows, the ulta is happening. Right? Because, see, traditionally what would happen with a TV show, any US TV show, you would start a show, you always want a next season, like whoever's making the show,
Yeah.
but you actually get week on week ratings, right? And then the network or whoever will decide at some point, chalo, this show is good, I'm going to greenlight a second season or a next season. But what's happening now with Netflix is so weird because all the shows are dumped at one go, right? You're supposed to binge them all.
Yeah. So they're like 13 episodes order. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no, whatever, 13 episodes, anything like that. But take Stranger Things, right? Which is a successful franchise. They bake in the possibility of a sequel at the end of the show itself.
Yeah.
Which is great when you get the next season. But what if it gets cancelled? Right?
Yeah, that happens so often. Yeah,
exactly.
There are so many shows like that.
And Netflix has a very high bar for when a show should get renewed. It should each time grow in audience. It should bring in new types of watchers, viewers. So it has all kinds of things. So the bar is very high, but it's always baked in, right? Whereas many shows, like one of my shows from long ago, Aaron Sorkin, who has written West Wing and everything else, he had a short-lived show called Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. Right, and it had a guy, Matthew Perry, Chandler Bing, as one of its lead characters. But they got the news about 15 episodes in that they're going to get cancelled after one season. So they wrote the next 6 episodes such that they could end, so that we are not left wondering what happens to the characters, what happens to the plot. We get some ending. I mean, I'm sure their lives go on, but we get some satisfaction as a watcher, right, or as a viewer. I think with Netflix, with all these shows that are getting cancelled, we feel betrayed, right? Because we want to know what happens. You baked it in. You have written the story in a way where we want to know what happens next, and then we never get to.
So you're saying, in comparison, Bollywood does it very differently, in the sense we don't ever talk about the possibility of a sequel in the movie itself or in the project itself. Agar hua to hua, like that,
Exactly. Whereas in Hollywood, it's different. Now, people actually we get so many crappy sequels to movies because the return on investment is actually more secure. If you have a new property versus same property, which, first movie did well, chalo, we'll make one sequel.
Yeah.
And that's so different in Bollywood, right? And all our Indian movies.
Correct. And also in Bollywood, I think I right now can only think of comedies getting sequels.
Like the Gold.
I can't think of. Okay, Dawn 2. Chalo, okay, Dawn 2. But that's the only one I can think of. Non-comedy.
There is War.
Oh, that's Krish also. Okay, no, I'm wrong. That's Krish also.
There is Dhoom. I don't know anything about Dhoom.
Correct. You're right. Okay, no, that was a totally.
But I think they've cancelled the plan now.
Which one? Dhoom 4. What are you saying?
Dhoom 4 or Dhoom 3? Dhoom 4, right?
Dhoom 4. Dhoom 3 to with Amir Khan.
It's with Amir Khan. Correct.
Okay, no. So my hypothesis was completely false. You can not need it. The hypothesis wasn't needed. We do make non-comedy sequels also, guys. We have come to that.
Even War, the Hrithik Roshan and Tiger Shroff franchise.
That's getting a sequel?
Yeah, it should get a sequel.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. It was kind of a good story. The ending was good.
Okay. That movie is very bankable. Even if the first movie didn't do well, the second movie is still bankable because 2 leading stars.
Correct.
But tell me something. Say, take Dhoom, take any of these examples. If you've not watched the first movie and you just go watch the second movie or the third movie, you can just still go watch it, now.
Yeah, in India you can still, for sure. Yeah.
That's the big difference. Like Avengers and so on, beyond a point, they're like, we don't care. I mean, you better have watched everything. Here's Avengers Endgame.
True.
They know that people have watched it, right? And I guess that kind of confidence comes only when you have blockbuster hit after blockbuster hit for one property.
Exactly. So again, because you talked about Avengers Endgame, one of the movies that on my list to talk about is Avengers Infinity War. After everyone, spoiler alert, after everyone, all the people who die and those people have to survive, there's a 5-year gap, right, between Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. There's a 5-year gap as to we don't know. I want to see those 5 years after Infinity War. What did those characters do? How did they cope? Were they doing missions? What kind of missions were they doing? Apparently, they were like Captain Marvel was involved in like intergalactic stuff. She was like helping keeping peace intergalactically, and the Avengers were doing like other stuff. What's his name? Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner's character becomes Ronin, where he's like just goes around killing people with a sword. And so I want to see all that stuff, man. I'm such a nerd for all this comic book stuff. I would be so into this. I would watch it. If they made a movie just about those 5 years, I think that could be an epic movie.
You should
No,
Just
now
invest
there'll
in
be
fine.
those
TV
others.
shows on Disney Plus, not movies.
For
But there'll
sure,
be
for sure.
TV shows on
That's
Disney
that's
Plus.
actually even better. Again, WandaVision has been killing it, so I am already in for any TV show that they throw at us. So yeah, I would totally watch that TV show. Totally in, for sure. Okay, so another one. Yeah, please. So Pawan, what about you? Let's get to one of
Okay,
yours.
so one quick one is one of my favorite action movies of all time, District 9, action and sci-fi.
Man, so good.
So it's Neil Blomkamp. I think it's his directorial debut. He was like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a cinematographer before. And my God, I mean, just the premise in a nutshell, aliens have come to Earth, but they've not come to New York City or Chicago or London or something. They've landed up on top of Johannesburg, right? Already one of the most unequal cities in, South Africa. This is post-apartheid. And they have become these things, they're nicknamed prawns, these aliens, and the ship is just sort of hanging in the air. A bunch of these aliens have descended on the Earth, but they've seemed to have fallen ill or something, or lost most of their intelligence. And we don't really know what's happening with them. And they become the new apartheid. They become the lowest of the low, who are mistreated, who are quarantined in a district called District 9. Right. So that's how the movie starts off. And one of the most memorable characters I think ever created, this guy, it was, I think his name is Sharlto Copley. I think it was his first big role. He's Vickers van der Merwe, speaking in his distinct South African accent. And he's this guy who's in charge of, relocating these aliens from one place to another place, right? So this is like a refugee camp where they're just trying to shift. And he gets infected with some liquid in an accident, and he starts turning into that alien, right? And if you've not seen this movie, please go watch it, and please skip the next few seconds of my exposition. But the movie ends where he's actually a full prawn or full alien, and he's still on Earth. There are people who have gone back on a spaceship to try and figure out and bring back help, but he's still living life not as a human. And I really want to know what happens after, or what happens when they come back. Will he ever regain his humanity? I think it's a fantastic movie, and I hope we get to see what happens to this character at some point in the future.
Man, and I love the actor. What's his name again? The actor's name?
Sharlto Copley.
Yeah, I love him so much. He was in another movie called The A-Team, which I love. I adore that movie. Have you guys seen The A-Team?
I think so, but I have very vague memories.
Okay, so the A-Team stars this actor from District 9. Bradley Cooper is also there. Liam Neeson is there. And just great action movie, dude. Just like you can leave your brains at home and just have a great action movie experience. It's so good. So yeah, that's...
So District 9, the other one that one of the biggest shows on Amazon
was there a District
Prime.
10? Isn't there a District 10 in the making or something?
I don't know.
Okay, I read
if,
recently that Neil Blomkamp was working on this. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But I want to see to believe it. I think the COVID-19 pandemic has ruined a lot of plans.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying before I.
The other one, one of the biggest Prime original shows is Good Omens. And Good Omens is basically, it's a fantastic book that was the only collaboration between the legendary sort of fantasy writers Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, right? So the two of them worked together on this, and it's a fascinating. You must have seen The Omen, right? And it's about what happens when the son of Satan is born on Earth, and how we'll have Armageddon or the end of times and all of that. And this is an hilarious take on it, where what if the son of Satan was sent to the wrong house? Like in The Omen, it's about the son of Satan being planted as the child of this powerful US diplomat or senator, and him growing up with all of that. He gets this dog, which is the the beast from hell and all of that. But what if you just screwed up and misplaced the babies, right? And the son of Satan just grew up in a normal house, with a normal family, in the suburbia somewhere. And what would have happened then? And beyond this sort of plot, what really sells the show is these characters, Aziraphale and Crowley, right? So they're like this one angel and one demon. Crowley is actually the snake from Eden, the one who tempts Eve into eating the apple. And Aziraphale is just some angel, and both of them are basically heaven and hell's agents on earth, right? So from the biblical start of mankind to now, they've been around. And they've become pals over time because they're the only two who sort of get each other, right? The people in heaven and hell don't know earth. And these guys, have their own love-hate relationship with humans and all of that. And the Good Omens show is fantastic, by the way. You should definitely watch it. You should read the book if you can. But now there's been whispers. In fact, when Terry Pratchett, who's no more, he actually sent a letter it was post-dated for being sent to Neil Gaiman after his death, saying, you have the license to continue the story.
It was post-dated, as in like he had made it so that it would be sent to him after his death?
Yeah.
Wow.
So and that's something that even happens in the story, by the way, in Good Omens. There is a letter that arrives, from beyond the grave of someone who died long, long ago.
Wow.
And it's fascinating, and the characters are just so memorable, and they're played by David Tennant. Doctor Who is the devil, is not the devil, but the demon on earth, Crowley.
Oh, wow.
And he's just badass.
Have you seen the Jessica Jones TV show on Netflix?
A little bit.
So David Tennant isn't that also? He is the villain in that. He's Mr. Purple or whatever his name is. Mr. Purple.
Yeah, and here he's not even he's a demon, but he's not a villain. He's actually sort of one of the good guys. Man, his character is amazing, and I can't wait to see what happens with these characters and with the son of Satan, right? I mean, he's survived the series. He's now on his way to becoming an adult, but he's still around on Earth and he wants to be human. So what's that like, right? So I think it's a great example of hopefully we'll get answers, but it's something that I think all fans really want to know more about.
Yeah, very cool. Good Omens. It's on Netflix, you're saying?
It's on Prime.
It's on Prime. All right, cool. We should check it out.
Any idea what will happen in Money Heist season 5?
I'm not watching it, man. Pavan, do you watch
Pavan,
Money Heist?
do you watch?
No, but please tell us more. It's something I've been waiting to get into at some point.
Yeah.
As you know that it's a concept of bank robbery and all those things. So in season 4, where they end is that doctor is caught by the police officer who has been suspended. So the people prediction is that the police officer, she is suspended, but she will join the professor in this, like the next heist when it ends. So no one knows what is going to happen in the last season, and they are calling this the last season of Money Heist.
So that's season 4 or season 5?
Season 5. Season 4, like 4 seasons are out. Like the 5th will be the last season for Money Heist.
Okay. Wow. Cool, man.
So
exactly. We've been hearing a lot about Money Heist. My own brother has been telling me, okay, watch Money Heist.
You should watch Money Heist. It's too good.
Another movie which I'm sure Pavan has seen this, and going by Pavan's taste, I'm sure he loves this movie. Do you know Mad Max Fury Road, Pavan?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, right. George Miller, directed by George Miller, starring Tom Hardy. So if you guys don't know, there was the original Mad Max series was starring Mel Gibson in the 70s. The first movie came out in the 70s. The second and third movies came out in the 80s, like the beginning, the earlier 80s, and then the second 80s, the latter 80s. And about 25 years later, in 2012 or 2014, Mad Max Fury Road came out, starring Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. Tom Hardy as Mad Max, as Max, and Charlize Theron played a character named Furiosa. And just a balls to the wall movie, just endless. So the entire movie is just one elongated car chase, but it is so amazing, dude. So well done. All the effects in this movie are practical effects. Like all the stunts, at least, are practical effects. Of course, like CGI is like if there's like a sandstorm going on in the background, that is CGI, of course. But all the stunts and all, like people jumping from car to car, that's all actually happening. Those are all practical effects. So very well done. George Miller's like one of the finest movies he ever made. Now, I would at the end of Mad Max, they have basically taken control. So basically, how the world of Mad Max works, there are all these pockets. This is a post-apocalypse world. Everything is like a desert wasteland. At least the land that we see is a desert wasteland. Okay, and all these people exist. There are these small pockets or camps, you can say, that are formed in this desert wasteland. Like that. So and each camp controls a different aspect of life in this world. For instance, there is the water camp, the camp that controls all the water in this world. So if you want to survive, you need to trade with this camp to be able to drink water. And everyone needs water to survive. There's another camp which controls all the petroleum. There's another camp. So you need, if you want to get from place point A to point B, you need petroleum. So you trade with them. Yeah, there's another place that deals in all the ammunition. So if you want to defend all the water that you have or all the petrol that you have, you will need ammunition. So you have to trade with this third camp. So this world is like very well thought out and it's very well made. The characters are great. At the end of the movie, the characters are basically victorious in their whatever adventure that they were going on.
Yeah, they've taken down all the bad guys
Yeah,
who are
exactly.
Controlling the flow of water and starving
exactly.
people and all of that.
Exactly. So now they've taken control of the water camp. They have the water camp under them, and so that's Charlize Theron's character. Furiosa is leading this thing where they are taking control of the water camp. And Max's character, that is Tom Hardy's character, Mad Max, he just leaves and vanishes in the crowd. And Furiosa like, God knows if I'll ever see him again, but I just want to say thank you or whatever. Right? That's the end of the movie. Now, I don't know if a sequel is in the works, but this is something I loved this movie so much. I am dying to see what Max does next. I want to see Furiosa again because she was so badass in this movie. I want to see her again in the next movie also. Maybe controlling this camp, this water camp or whatever, this water settlement. Maybe doing some other thing. Maybe trying to liberate one of the other camps. How they are surviving. Any new modifications to Max's car, because his car called the Interceptor is a big part of his identity, which we didn't get to see much of in Fury Road. The car, it's the Interceptor itself.
Yeah, the main thing in Fury Road is the giant truck.
Yeah, the giant truck, exactly. That's the one going around. But we don't get to see the Interceptor much, which is kind of sad because that's such a mainstay in Mad Max movies. That's what I'm dying to see what happens to Max. So how is he been surviving? Max's character is like he's basically a loner that ends up meeting these people and then he has to work with them, either because he feels bad for them or he just feels this is the right thing to do, or for whatever reason, just for survival, he has to work with these other people. And that's his arc in every movie. He's a loner who finds someone and then he has to protect them or work with them in some way or the other.
Yeah, and the first ever Mad Max movie, I think he tragically loses his wife and child, I think. Yeah. And after that, that's what makes him become a loner. He doesn't want to get attached to people because everyone dies. Yeah, he even feels like people he gets close to end up dying because there are always people after him.
Yeah.
Right. And the way the movie was made and the practical effects, like each scene was, thought through, each sequence was planned. And I think it was years and years and years in development. So I have no idea whether George Miller himself or anyone has the patience and the stamina to make another one. But I fully agree with you. I mean, they've created such a memorable character,
world,
characters, and they've rebooted the world in such an interesting way.
Yeah,
exactly. And Mad Max has always been episodic, so you can take a little from the last movie. You can still make something that's quite new.
Correct, exactly.
The possibility is endless. But the bar is also really high with Mad Max. I don't want this to be the Hobbit to the Lord of the Rings.
Correct, exactly. You don't want to be a cash grab.
No, and like Lord of the Rings, so much of it was practical, and of course they used all kinds of CGI. But in Hobbit, they're like, go do stuff. We'll fix it in post. We'll do CGI in post, and you could tell the big dip in quality, right?
Of course, you can tell from the first movie itself in Hobbit.
Exactly, and so sad. I wouldn't ever want that to happen to Mad Max, but I agree with you.
But I also don't want George Miller to hand off the directing reins to someone else. I want George Miller to keep it under a George Miller banner, So
and if the best way to do justice to what happens to the story is a comic book, I want a comic book. I don't want a movie.
So I don't know if you know this. There is a Mad Max video game.
Right.
It came out just a little after the Mad Max Fury Road movie, about a year after that or something.
But and it's well received. It's not like one of those crappy video games that come with a big movie.
Exactly. It's a unique story. It's an open world, a wasteland, but it's an open world. And you can like do all these cool activities. And it's a unique story. And you have the interceptor. That's the main. So you can you can build the you can modify the interceptor in like cool ways in the game. It's very cool. Check that out if you guys are interested in this world. So yeah, that's the end of this Mad Max discussion that I want to talk about. This last thing, because I know you want to add something to this last thing that Pavan, you want to add what I'm going to talk about.
Yes.
Let's get to some Nolan movies, Christopher Nolan movies. I was thinking about Inception. We all kind of want to know if that was a dream, that was the real world. So we want to know the afterlife of what Cobb's character, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, goes through after the movie. Does he reunite with his children actually, or is that all just a dream and nothing really happens? So I want to know that also, but I know that knowing that is kind of a spoiler in itself for the movie. It's kind of spoiling the discussion of, oh, was it a dream? The pin, I saw it like tumble a bit or whatever, falter a bit.
So yeah, it's like, and you had like Vinay, the one that Vinay shared, the alternate ending of Titanic, right? It sort of kind of ends the movie.
Exactly.
It sort of kills it, if you know.
It kind of kills it, but you can't help but that's, if I think of like an open ending in a movie, that's the first movie that comes to mind for me, Inception.
I agree.
Yeah.
And if it is a dream, then how the hell are you going to get out? What's going to happen next?
How do you kill yourself again? Are you still under the chemical substance that put you under in the first place? So if you die, then you're just stuck in limbo again. So that whole process could be endless. There could be an endless process of him going to limbo, coming out of limbo, then going to limbo again, and then coming out of limbo again. Oh God, that could be great. I think.
Yeah, and so what's interesting to me is, see, outside of the Batman series that Nolan directed, right? I mean, that was meant to be 3 movies. Although I wish that the third movie was not made in the way that it got made.
Sure.
I think Tenet, which unfortunately is not legally available in India yet.
I mean, you can watch it in theaters. That's legally available there.
Oh yeah, you can watch it in theaters, but I wouldn't advise that either. I mean, it's going to the theaters. I think one of the most risky things you can do during the pandemic. But
actually, so I have had friends. I know friends, and some of our hosts also have seen the movie in theaters, and they're always like, dude, there were like 5 people in the theater. There were like 6 people in the theater.
Fair.
Yeah, so I think that's fine. You can go.
If it's that empty, then take full advantage of it.
Exactly,
and that's why I mean, Tenet did not. Tenet was a commercial flop, right?
Yeah, of course, because exactly. It would have been of course, it would have been a mega hit had the theaters been open like properly. But
exactly.
What a sad.
But Tenet, I think, is perhaps the first Nolan movie which has an inbuilt opportunity for a sequel, right? I mean, even if you look at Interstellar, you can ask the question, what happens after, to the characters of Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway, will they meet again? Can humans inhabit this new world, etc.? But the central plot of whatever was going on in Interstellar, they resolved it, right? I mean, they found a place where humans can go to because Earth has, gotten destroyed by climate change and a whole bunch of other things. But Tenet, and this is, I don't know how to talk about this movie without giving too much away. So again, if you've not seen it...
No. I would say just say spoiler alert and go ahead with it.
Okay, so spoiler alert, Tenet is a lot about time, right? And it's not about just regular old time travel, but it's about this idea of the thermodynamic arrow of time, right? Which is like, in our world, you drop an egg, it breaks, right? That is the natural, spontaneous sequence of events. Correct. But an opposite, and you have a bullet in a gun, you shoot it, the bullet gets fired and goes and hits something. That's the natural, spontaneous version of things in our world. But in terms of physics, and all this happens because entropy or disorder is increasing. But in physics, what if you can imagine a world where entropy or disorder is decreasing? Whatever is non-spontaneous in our world becomes spontaneous. So it's a weird concept, and Tenet sort of plays with it. It messes with your mind. Beyond a point, you have to shut off your mind and just enjoy the insane action that is happening, forwards and backwards in time. But what and giving the plot away, the protagonist of the movie, who's unnamed, who's just the protagonist, is recruited by this organization called Tenet to fight this war across time. Right?
Wait, you never know the main character's name in the
No,
movie?
he is the protagonist. By
He's
the way,
called-
he's
called
Denzel
the
Washington's son. Okay, the actor.
Really?
He's
What?
amazing. He's just the protagonist. And what you find by the end of the movie is that in the future, it is the protagonist who has even set up this organization called Tenet. Right? So they talk about these pincer moves where you move forward in time and backwards in time from the future to converge at one point. So what you actually see in Tenet is actually the first half of that convergence, if you will, to take on the war against the future. So I would love to see what happens in the second half, where you prepare, where the organization gets built. And I think it's ripe for a sequel. And I hope Nolan gets the money to do it, because this one clearly lost money.
Wow. Yeah, man. Absolutely. I'm just blown away. I had no idea this guy was Denzel Washington's son, dude.
Yes.
That is insane. Wow.
And he was a football player before he became an actor. He is just incredible.
But no one knew he was Denzel Washington's son.
I think this has been John David Washington. I think that's now his breakout role. And kudos to Nolan to find a new face.
Exactly. That's so nice.
We are all tired of seeing Leonardo DiCaprio in every other role.
Exactly. True.
We're done with Christian Bale now. I'm sure. They can continue doing good roles, but we would love fresh new faces.
Man, this is a little hypocritical. Not really hypocritical, but doesn't nepotism in America seem a little less like nepotism when it's in Hollywood movies as compared to Bollywood movies?
No, it is still nepotism. Okay,
it is still nepotism for sure.
It is,
but it seems like a little bit less, because if this guy does not perform in the next 2 or 3 movies that he's in, he probably just start getting lesser roles, and he won't survive. The problem with nepotism is when, despite you performing poorly, you continue getting opportunities. That's the problem with nepotism, right? Yeah.
And I must say that, again, this is a bit of an aside, but it was great to see Robert Pattinson in Tenet playing the role that he played, compared to the stuff in Twilight and everything else. And it was fantastic to see Dimple Kapadia killing it in the movie.
She was that good?
I loved her character.
Okay, wow. Very cool. Okay, guys, definitely have to check Tenet out, man. Also, I'm excited for Robert Pattinson's Batman movie. That'll be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm in two minds whether what's going to happen there. It looks very grunge, the trailer at least.
Again,
and then he's wearing black makeup around his eyes, and they're going for a very different vibe after the Christian Bale Batman, which is still so memorable and in so many of our minds. And what shall not be spoken about, the DC universe wala Batman.
Oh god, yes, the Ben Affleck
Batman. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
For sure. I'm actually quite excited, because I think so basically the thing is, we're all going to watch it regardless of whether we are excited about it or not. We're all definitely going to watch it. So it might as well just be sunk in at this point and be like, yes, this is going to be good. I'm going to watch it. And the thing is, I think that Robert Pattinson has proven himself to be a good actor. So I think this could work. Anyway, I think this is a good point to end this episode. We have talked a lot about characters' lives after movies and shows. Let's finish this. Vinay, let's wrap it up. Where can we follow you online?
On Instagram @IamVinya.
Okay, and Pavan, where can we follow you online?
On all platforms, I'm Zeus is Dead. Please don't ask me why the name. It is ZEUSISDEAD. And you can check out the Thale-Harate Kannada Podcast and the Pragati Podcast on IVM Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Yes, and you can follow me on Antariksh T on Instagram and Antariksh Tag on Twitter, wherever you guys want to follow. Thank you so much. It's been a lovely episode. We talked about characters' lives. We gave you some awesome recommendations in the first half. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Pavan. Thank you so much, Vinay. See you guys soon.
Thank you so much. Take care.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep, or lose weight, or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting app.
Do you wish you were smarter? Well, so do we. But the next best thing?
We could make you sound smarter.
And to help you with this endeavor, we are Simplified, a podcast that attempts to break down the complex world around you with a little knowledge, a lot of poor jokes, and a ton of random trivia.
Episodes out every Monday
On the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
See ya!